Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Kevin from BFB, and it is a gorgeous day outside today. So I had to do this intro outro shot outside at the park near my apartment. I hope you're enjoying this view as much as I am. But anyways, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Real Talk on crypto coins, where we cover the hottest or most controversial coins as requested on by you guys, our community. So as always, we take these coins that you vote on and break it all down, cover the good and the bad, no shilling, no FUD. So on the last poll we did, Cardano, or ticker symbol ADA, got voted on as the top spot. And so I will be breaking this down for you guys today. And this is one that I've long wanted to take a look at because it really came out of nowhere late last year, rocketed to the top 10 spot, and stayed there for the longest time, even when I thought it would drop out of the top 10. So one last thing before we dive into the material, I just wanted to share with you that I spent a lot of time making these videos, doing a lot of research, making sure that it's accurate. So if you don't mind giving me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it. Now enough chit chat from me, let's take a look at what this project is all about. All right, here we go. Season 1, Episode 7 on Cardano, or ticker symbol ADA. And this project is a third generation cryptocurrency, which a lot of people in the crypto world are really excited about. And one of its leaders is Charles Hoskinson, who I've included a picture of in this intro slide. So for those of you who don't know, what is Cardano? And before I go into these points, let me just tell you that this project has a lot of different things going on and that there's no way that I can fit it into one slide. So this is going to be a really brief intro and you should definitely go take a closer look yourself. So it's known as a Japanese Ethereum and it's not actually connected to Japan in that many ways, but it did do its private pre-sale in Japan. So most of its initial investors came from Japan. That's why it has that moniker. It's also a third generation smart contracts and dApps platform. So Bitcoin was first generation, you can think of Ethereum as number 2, and then this third wave of crypto platforms coming out have the benefit of hindsight. They already know what problems are plaguing existing blockchains, and so they can design solutions to solve those problems specifically. So that means things like scalability, as we all know very well, interoperability, how blockchains work together, and also governance, how to control changes to the whole blockchain. It's also open source and peer reviewed with a really academic twist to it. It's supported by 3 entities, Cardano Foundation, IOHK, and Emurgo. And so they split up the duties on promoting the community and adoption, the engineering efforts, and also getting businesses to eventually adopt and build on top of the Cardano platform. Its consensus mechanism is proof of stake. And they actually have their own protocol that they created called Ouroboros. And it's supposedly very rigorously peer reviewed. And so it'll be interesting to see it out in action in the real world. They also currently have a wallet called the Daedalus wallet, which supports the ADA token. So far, this is the only part of the platform that's active. So it's a cryptocurrency right now, like Bitcoin or Nano perhaps, not a smart contracts platform yet. Also, in terms of on-chain governance, token holders can vote on changes to the protocol and also use the funds in the treasury. So that this way you don't need to do a lot of different hard forks. You can just vote on changes and do soft forks. So let's take a look at some of the good things about this project. First of all, it's solving infrastructure level problems. As you've heard me in prior videos, this is something that I really like, projects that are trying to do this, because these will be the big winners in the crypto space. They're solving the biggest problems. They're not a dApp that's just focusing on a really tiny niche. They're focusing on problems that cover the entire crypto world. They also have a really extensive peer review process based on how research is reviewed in the academic world. They're extremely transparent with decisions. They have a lot of constant updates, reports, posts, blogs, videos, and much more. They also have a really large team. of experienced engineers and researchers. This is actually a big point of why people like this project a ton. Go take a look at their website, the IOHK website, and you'll see everyone who's working specifically on the Cardano project. It's a lot of people with great academic experience and real-world blockchain research experience as well. They also have really consistent development progress. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go check out their GitHub and you can see many, many updates all throughout their existence. Also, just by using proof of stake, they're definitely more efficient because, as you all may know, proof of work is very resource intensive in order to do those computations to generate consensus and maintain the blockchain. Finally, they have designed Cardano to have 2 different layers, and this is good because it can be optimized separately. So they have a settlement layer, which is for transactions, kind of like cryptocurrencies sending that to each other, and a control layer, which controls smart contracts logic, whereas other platforms like Ethereum does not split these two together, so they oftentimes have different needs that might clash with each other. This is kind of like how the internet stack is built. If you know about the internet, there's many different layers, and each of them can be considered separately and optimized and changed without affecting the different ones up and down the stack. Now on to the bad part, and I just want to say that a lot of these I should characterize as concerns instead of outright bad. It's more so just included here to generate discussion, so I'd love to hear your opinion as well. But anyways, on to some of my points. A lot of their design choices are built from scratch, designed to solve these problems of scalability, interoperability, and governance, if you remember. But the big question is, will their new design choices actually work in the wild? This is something we don't know yet, because other projects that are kind of closer to existing ones at least have some history and track record to go off of to see, oh, this way works well, but let's tweak it a little bit. They pretty much designed most of the things from complete ground zero, which is good and bad in this case. For example, the governance model of having token holders vote on changes. We don't know if that's going to work as well as they intended to, so we'll have to wait and see. Furthermore, they are definitely very far behind Ethereum and Neo right now, so the other 2 projects benefit from network effects because they already have a huge network built on their platform and using it every day. And while Cardano's tech is really impressive, competitors can always improve. There's nothing stopping them as well, so just keep that in mind. There's also many other 3rd generation platforms coming, like EOS, for example, and many more. So the big question is, will projects and other companies adopt Cardano when it's finally ready? They have a long time frame if you take a look. I believe it was like 2020 when they aimed to have it all ready, with many big features left to build and deliver. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a long way to go, whereas other ones are already production ready, even if they have hurdles facing them in terms of being perfectly usable. Another thing to consider is the fact that they might be over-engineered. And this is something that's really big in the tech world. Like, a lot of companies focus on the tech so much that they build a product that's a lot of features, but the users and the customers don't actually want all those complicated features. They just want something simple and that fits their needs exactly. And so that's something to keep in mind, the risk of over-engineering, which is something that comes with their rigorous academic peer review process, building everything from scratch approach. Finally, the supply is somewhat centralized. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, their initial distribution was via private voucher sale in Japan. So most of the whales are Japanese and the initial investors, and their mindset is to usually just hodl forever. And so if you look at a Cardano address tracker, the top 100 addresses owns roughly 75% of all ADA. That's a lot. That's pretty centralized. So obviously, for the benefit of the community, we want that wealth spread out so that more people can vote. Not one group or entity can control too much of the decision-making process. Remember, with the governance model, that matters a lot. And so finally, the question comes to, would I personally invest? And as always, this is not financial advice, just my own opinion. So the answer is yes, but I still think it's relatively overvalued in terms of its market cap. When it first came out and rocketed to the top 10, I did not feel like it belonged there. And while I think this project has a lot of promise, I still don't think it belongs in the top 10. So I hope you don't get too pissed at me for that hot take, potentially. It's currently higher than Neo, Stellar, Dash, Monero, projects that are actually somewhat done and also used in their particular niches. But buying Cardano is ultimately a bet on their team and philosophy, which is the first of its kind, frankly speaking, in the crypto world. And so I know that's why a lot of people are really excited, and it's definitely a legitimate reason. So what are some of the things I like? Of course, their rigorous approach, consistency, and utmost transparency. Some things I'd like to see improve are continued on-time delivery throughout their roadmap. They've been pretty decent at this so far, but they have a long way to go for the whole roadmap. Also, to address the centralization of funds, hopefully they can come up with a plan or some incentives for those whales to sell some of the Cardano, let it go into the marketplace. And finally, just plan ahead on the marketing side, because once it's done, you'll need a huge marketing effort to get this adopted by all the companies who may potentially want to switch or build on the Cardano platform. Well, I hope you really enjoyed this video and found it valuable and informative. As always, I'm only human, so if I made a mistake, was inaccurate, or if you think I was biased, please let me know down in the comments below, and I'll definitely take a look and potentially rethink my positions. Furthermore, since this is episode number 7, we only have one episode left in the first season of Real Talk. So if you can let me know down in the comments below what coin you want me to cover next, I will be sure to include it in the poll that we do in our Facebook groups. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. This is Kevin, and I'll see you next time.